two pressing issues that have really upset me. One of which being that Oklahoma has the 6th highest obesity rate in the country. And this is what our grocery aisles look like. They're packed with processed, nutrient-stripped foods. Second, Oklahoma also has the highest rate of incarcerated women in the world. Oklahoma puts more women in prison each year per capita than any other place in the world. That's insane. In 2010 alone, Oklahoma incarcerated 1,394 women. And it's not because we're criminals. It's because 84% of the women incarcerated in 2010 were unemployed at the time of their arrest. And 68% were nonviolent offenders. This shows that it's not an issue of criminal behavior, but an issue of a lack of resources in our community. So what can I do to channel my distress around these two issues? I can't write legislation. I don't control food standards. And I don't work for the Oklahoma Drug Court. The one thing that I do know how to do is bake. So that's why I launched Heavenly Bread Company. It's a for-profit bread company that bakes nutritious whole wheat breads and cinnamon rolls and pizza doughs, but also employs marginalized women in our community, particularly women with a history of with incarceration in Oklahoma. Today, I want to tell you about why the philosophy behind Heavenly Bread is changing the world, and how you can do it too. And it's all through empathy. Simply put, it's the ability to understand the perspectives and the feelings of others, but more importantly, to be able to act in response to create social change. So Heavenly Bread all started in the summer of 5th grade. My cousin Jack and I always grew up doing lemonade stands around the neighborhood. And the summer of 5th grade, we decided we were ready for bigger and better things. We were over the menial lemonade stand. So we decided to bake and sell my mom's whole wheat bread. My mom's a dietitian, and she always, tried to make the healthiest foods around the house. And so she made this special bread. So Jack and I decided, let's bring it to our community. And even better, let's deliver it to people on our bicycles. And we called it Heavenly Bread because Jack said, who wouldn't want to buy something called heavenly? So we spent the next 2 summers baking and selling bread, profiting over $1,000, and dreaming of pitching it to Whole Foods. So now, flash forward 10 years, I'm at school in New York City studying social entrepreneurship, continuing to learn about the huge issues that our communities face, and also learning about creative ways to solve these problems. And that's when I had the idea of using Heavenly Bread to create a social impact in our community. So I called up Jack and I said, Jack, what if we brought back Heavenly Bread this summer? Instead of an internship, let's go home and let's experiment. Let's see if Heavenly Bread is a viable business model. So now, 5 months later, we're a profitable, sustainable business. We have real customers. We're no longer just a summer project, but we're a real business and employing real people. Heavenly Bread started with the belief in real foods, high quality, nutritious ingredients with a pure process. We were really frustrated with the idea that, we have such a huge obesity problem. And we thought that it was due to, partially, because there's a lack of transparency between food producers and food consumers. Looking at the bread industry, the process includes 20 convoluted steps, where we thought we'd change that in creating 6 simple steps. So we do that by starting with a wheat berry. We freshly mill 100% of our wheat flour fresh for each batch. We do that because it preserves all the key nutrients. Typically, in the industrial bread process, the wheat berries are stripped of the most nutritious, or the most important parts, the bran and the germ, where all the nutrients are located. So in the traditional process, it's stripped of all the important aspects, and then later on down on the road, it's enriched and additives are added. But we're preserving that. And in the milling process, within 72 hours of milling, over 90% of the natural nutrients in wheat flour are lost. And so by doing this, we're preserving that. So not only are we preserving the nutrients in the wheat flour, but we're also sourcing the most nutritious other ingredients as we can too. So we use grapeseed oil. It's an alternative to canola oil, recognized to be more heart healthy and also cholesterol free. We use real salt, which comes straight from the salt plains of Redmond, Utah, which adds 17 essential minerals back into our bread. We're also using local honey, local raw wildflower honey, and it's been recognized to aid in seasonal allergies. And we're doing all this because we care about our customer. We care about what fuels our community, and we want to bring empathy into the process, into the food industry. And bread baking itself is an empathetic process. We have to work with the yeast. We have to make sure that the proper conversion takes place. We have to truly understand the components that go into bread baking and also understand the process. So we're a micro bakery. We handcraft each loaf for each batch. And in doing that, we're preserving the pure process of bread baking, which is unlike the industrial process. And in doing so, the nutritional benefits of Heavenly Bread are exponential. It would take 4 pieces of Oro wheat, whole wheat Oro wheat, to have the fiber content of 1 slice of Heavenly Bread. So 1 slice of Heavenly Bread has over 8 grams of fiber and over 5 grams of protein. And that's out without any additives or preservatives. So it's huge for our customers to be able to have access to nutritious products like this. Not only are we incorporating empathy in our relationship with food, but we're also considering what would it be like to run an empathetic workplace. What's the relationship between empathy and business? And that's why we created Heavenly Bread with an open hiring policy. Our goal is to provide employment for marginalized women in Oklahoma, particularly the population of women that have been in prison. Why are we doing this? Well, Oklahoma spends $34 million a year incarcerating women. That's insane. That's $25,000 a year per woman incarcerated. And after the women are released, what does it look like for them? Well, they're released with $50, a bus ticket, and a criminal record. This is not only a huge structural issue, but it's also completely demoralizing. And last summer, I worked for a program in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, that provides services to this population of women. And each day, I sat in on the group therapy sessions. And there were several occasions that I sat next to a 20-year-old girl that was my age. But she had a criminal record. She had more than 1 child at home. And I couldn't help but think, what's the difference between she and I? And I found that in her life experience, she didn't have the opportunity to graduate high school. Her dad was a drug dealer and her mom was a drug addict. She was introduced to meth at age 15. I, on the other hand, had the opportunity to graduate high school. I had the opportunity to go to college. And I came from a home with 2 loving parents. So this showed me that there's a huge inequality of opportunities in our community. And that's the intent of Heavenly Bread, is to see if we can create more opportunities for this population of women. So now we have 2 employees, and one of our employees, Kathy, I asked her earlier this week, why is Heavenly Bread successful? What are we doing right? How are we helping you? Or are we? And she said that the greatest aspect of Heavenly Bread is that she was able to be open and honest about her past and about her experiences. She didn't have to hide when she applied. Instead, she was able to embrace it and use it for better. And more importantly, she used the word empathy. She said that being in a workplace, in a work environment, and having an employer that was empathetic about her experience was really propelling her recovery and also her reentry into the community. Now, Kathy has been an incredible success. She's become a master baker. Not only that, but she has 25 years of accounting experience, which is an incredible resource to me. She's teaching me intro to accounting, which ultimately shows me that there's an untapped workforce in our community that's not being utilized. That there's a population of women that have incredible strengths and talents that need to be contributed. So this is Kathy. And now she also commented that she's finally the grandmother who can bake. After learning bread baking, now she comes home every day and brings her grandchildren fresh baked cinnamon rolls and fresh baked bread. So heavenly bread is one piece of a bigger goal. And that is to create an environment and a culture of empathy. And I'm doing that through baking, but there's many other ways to do that as well. And Heavenly Bread focuses on creating an empathetic food industry and an empathetic workplace. But my call today is to ask you, how are you being empathetic in your world? What does that look like to you? Thank you.